Greetings. This is the first inaugural, a new podcast called Think Bigger, because I found myself saying it all the time, allowing coaches and athletes and business owners to get to a place in their minds where they start to reach for their deepest, most deeply seated desires. And the only way to make that happen is if you think bigger. Get what I'm saying? So I brought along Stacy, my partner in crime, to
Hey,
its first inaugural. Well, I guess it's not literally first inaugural.
no, yeah, we've been talking about this a long time. It is overdue because a common denominator with a lot of the folks that cross our paths are they're just not thinking big enough,
Yeah.
or they're kind of putting themselves out of the race before they even give it a shot. So we're here to just talk about all things making your life in general bigger and to think bigger. So I'm excited about this. I really am.
We're going to cover some of the most polarizing conversations today. One is going to be with USA Boxing, because we have a lot of level 1 and level 2 coaches that are listening, and we want to make sure that they have the right tools, that they have the right mindset, and they understand what they actually need to add to their training when they're working with their fighters. And if these individuals understand how that they could help bring more value to their athlete by giving them these pearls that we're going to discuss, then the sport of boxing is going to be in an entirely different place, and it's going to be beneficial to be an athlete in the sport, so that you're looked upon the same way that those soccer stars are looked upon. And a lot of the ones that are in the NFL, college football, college basketball, we want our athletes to be looked upon the exact same way and even better, because it's such a dedicated sport. And it's literally on the record, boxing is the toughest sport to learn in the world. Yeah. Period. Google it. It's facts. So
Facts.
the reward should be the same. And with that being said, we'll kick it off with a conversation that we feel near and dear to us. Is, because I am lineage of the Olympics, I wanted to discuss, there's a spokesperson, basically face of boxing, and he's going to represent the Olympic in 2024. So we have to discuss this, because it's not only a subject, but it's a touchy subject.
It is.
In the boxing world is more than, at its own, they feel a certain way, and rightfully so. But I always say, if you want change, you must change things. And so I'm going to kick this off with one of the conversations that really took me by storm. I actually had to respond to one of the coaches who posted about this, even though this news is a little, it's a couple of months old. It's been on the record, but this is how you're going to help your fighters now get into the race and get to another level. So, Stacy, would you like to introduce that conversation, and I'll pop?
Yeah, sure thing. Well, we all know that it's kind of a combination of what you were saying a moment ago. When it comes to USA Boxing, it's hard to believe, but the Olympics are right around the corner. And we know a lot. There's been the qualifiers, Golden Gloves, and there's been qualifiers for the Olympics happening. And then, you kind of have that conversation. And then you have the conversation in our sport across the board. And the power of these YouTubers coming into boxing and MMA and just taking it over by storm.
And as you can see, Jake Paul will be representing the look, obviously, directly in front of you. And if you want to speak to what you read and bring the audience up to date.
Mm-hmm. So here's the thing, if you're in the sport, especially if you're a USA Boxing coach, you know that this has been back in December. Jake Paul partnered with USA Boxing to be able to support the program go to the Olympic Training Center, capture what these athletes are doing, and to put it on their social media to be able to give the team the shine that they deserve, create that story, create that narrative, and to teach these athletes on how to build their brands. And this is something that we feel so strongly about. If you've even just crossed our feed here, you know that this is something that we live and breathe. And Coach right here has been saying for a couple years now, you guys got to get on your because the game is changing. And I can't remember, because it's not just one fight show that you've done that you were talking about. Listen, guys, it's not going to be too long. And all these other folks, athletes from outside the sport, whether that's MMA or whether it's boxing, they're going to show up and they're going to be here. Because what you and I know at the end of the day is boxing is a business. The day you decide to fight and put on gloves and compete, you are a brand and you are a business.
Yep.
And you got it. What these promoters are looking for is to be able to fill up arenas. And if you can't do that, trust me, you're going to be overlooked by someone who can. So that's me on my soapbox. I could go on forever. I'm going to let you jump in here because I know you've got some.
So here it is. Here's the deal. One of the things that we always speak to is, and I'm going to let a couple of guests that we've recently had on the show speak, because I don't just want you to believe that it's us saying it, because for our own purpose, it's all of these individuals who have a specific dog in the race. And these are people who are in other industries that understand the importance of knowing how to protect what you worked on, because a lot of you are in the gym every day, but you are artists. You're literally painting and you're not worrying about all the stuff that's going on around you, right? And that's where we are wrong. That's where the adjustment has to be made. And when we are talking about positioning you to not only just get into the sport and be known, but to get into the sport and leave a powerful impact on it, it all results in knowing exactly how to message to these people. Who are you going to be? I'll date it back a couple of weeks ago before he left and transitioned to his other world, his other life. Apollo Creed was known as, a polarizing figure. And the only reason that you watch that is because there was a polarizing figure who would come up against Rocky, and Sylvester Stallone was clinical in how he chose these individuals to be across from him in the ring. See, that's what it is. If he would have got some Sir Oliver Humperdinck, it wouldn't have been as much of a interesting watch. So he wanted to always challenge himself to be in the ring against someone that would put him in the hospital, which they all did. From Apollo Creed, Ivan Drago, Mr. T, they all put Rocky in the hospital. Every single one of them did immense damage to him, but he understood the impact of impact and polarizing figures, stature-wise. And when you saw the first episode of Creed, he was brash, he was clever, very ingenious. He understood how to get up under your skin. He understood how to talk to the crowd and create abundance, attraction, good-looking man, strong man, big man, had all of the things, all of the tools that could attract you. And he also allowed you to see him. That's when he was marketing himself. And so with that being said, that's a part of what we have to do. We have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. You have to stop painting so much and start letting people know that you paint. You got to start letting people see what you paint. You have to start advertising exactly what it is that they should know about you. And it takes a while to transform that mind, because you never have found Picasso or Michelangelo talking and bragging amongst the people about what they do. They just were doing it. So unless you have a spokesperson on your team that's representing that vocal cord for your team, for your athletes, then until you do that, these individuals that I'm showing you on the screen right now are going to continue to take up space in the world of boxing, where your kid who's been training for 7 years and he's only 15, he's going to take his spot. And I said, as Stacy was just mentioning, I said this months ago, that in 3 years, there will not be a regular, pure amateur boxer or professional boxer leading those main event cards. It's not going to happen, because here are a couple of things that promoters need. First, they need to get investors, because they don't just use their own money. And what they have to tell the investors is, this show is going to get your money back. And I'm going to, then he'll make a little profit. Once he tells them that, that promoter goes into his account, and whether he goes to the bank and he creates, the conversation of what he's doing this with this money. He takes that money, he hands it off, he looks directly into that promoter's eyes. Now, sometimes this is networks that do this, but the promoter's job is to guarantee this person of interest how he's going to make it for sure that your athlete's going to do what he needs to do on his behalf to get the people interested in him. Hence is why Dana White always puts on a Contender Series, which boxing used to do, put on the Contender Series. We actually have a co-host who's actually a winner of the Contender Series, Otis Griffin, and Shane Mosley, who was a runner-up. So that's important, because you're building up the athlete. You watched it. You understood what it was. Once he gets that money, he puts it into a trust, and the trust is the fighter. That's why Eddie Hearn was so anxious to put on the Devin Haney Prograis fight, because those two were at each other for real. And the same thing with Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. Devin Haney's starting to be more of a, back and forth kind of fighter now. He's finally really buying into the role, because he wants to get that promoter his money back so that he can get a bigger purse next time. That's how it works. But what happens is people just feel like, all I want to do is train. I have all of my eggs in the basket of training my fighters. And then not a lot of people show up because they don't know about the fighter. They don't understand what you guys are doing in camp. They don't truly understand the DNA of that guy. And then the show, it's not even sold out, and it's like a 5,000 seat arena. You can't even sell that out. So he goes back. He makes a lot less than expected, and he has to lose an investor. So there are a lot of things that happen with the promoter. Therefore, it's hard to promote certain fighters. Bob Arum had a hard time promoting Terrence Crawford because he wasn't making his own noise. Of course, in his camp, he felt like he understood the importance of marketing himself, but he really wouldn't go about doing it because he felt that he was putting on a monkey suit. And that's a part of the game. And if you have a product, you have to sell it. And not only do you have to sell it, you have to sell it aggressively. This is why Mayweather, that's why Don King imposed that mindset on his fighter. PBC encourages that you get on these channels, like these channels. We have world-class fighters up here when we choose to. We have people who are big moguls in the sport up here when we choose to. But my job is to make sure that you guys get the real ins and out of what's going on in the game and how to really build yourself and think bigger. Big. Think bigger. That means the person that's your brain trust is doing the little things to make it obvious to you what is it that you're supposed to do. What is it that you're supposed to do? You're supposed to train. You're supposed to capture your own footage. You're supposed to put it out here. And you're supposed to listen to exactly what my man Jake says.
It's like, we just need to make art. Like, and even in the boxing world, you got to box. How often are you boxing? How often are you producing what you need to produce? Promote. Hey, look, this is what I just made. And then you just keep doing it again. Hey, look, I'm in the gym. Hey, look, I had a fight. Promote. I have a fight coming up. I just did a fight.
And the great part about what we have now are these phones in our heads. They're incredible tools. Think about back in the day, we had to be in a studio and, run a camera, and now we're able to reach millions and billions of people
Yeah.
in the palm of our hands. See
Yeah.
where technology and AI has advanced to, where we can, like, I'm in the hotel lounge, doing a podcast with you. You don't have to be anywhere physically just to get things done.
Period. Point blank. And for you guys who don't know, Sean Ringgold is a star on the top Netflix show, The Family Business. And that is fire. It's absolute fire. And they're about to launch season 5. So he understands the importance of marketing himself and putting it out there. And ever since then, he and I've connected and added a bunch of maybe 30, 40,000 new ears to that show. And that matters because whoever wrote the show has to say, hey, we're doing numbers. Our numbers are increasing, not decreasing. And so that's what happens in the promotional world. And that's why people like Jake Paul get opportunities. So you can't hate on the player. You got to get in the game with the player and start playing the game and start thinking ahead. And that's why you have to say, I got to start thinking bigger. That's why the name of this podcast is Think Bigger. And this is the inaugural show. And it just brings great pride to me to know that we're leading this for the boxing world. No other sport. We're leading for the world of boxing, that I understand what's coming and I understand what needs to be done. So if you could just listen to these every single week, Monday and Wednesday, we will make sure that you understand what to do. And when it comes down to it, if you know you got that smoke, the only thing you don't have is a gas light, and you need that gas light and you need some juice, then you got jabjuice.com. Go there and then just say, hey, I got a great athlete, or I got my operation is ready to tip over. All I need now is to get that juice behind me. That's how you go about doing it. That's where we are today. So let's get on to the next topic, because I'm fired up, because I know when I got into this, I said, I'm going to donate what I got to the sport. And creating this podcast here, I love my fight show and I love the gym business and I love all of these different things, but there's nothing much more closer to my heart than thinking bigger than anybody else. And so we have to transform the minds of coaches. We have to transform the minds of these trainers. We have to transform the mind of the gym owners, the people who are running businesses. You got to catch up now, because just like my man, Sean Ringgold, just said, everything's in the palm of your hands now. It ain't no excuse. Bring the smoke, or just go ahead and exit out and give it to somebody who wants the smoke. Because if you want to get it right now, you got to hold that phone and you got to pull that camera out. You can see right here in the background, you see that red eye? Boy, that's the big boy back there. That's that 4K. That's that killer. That's that killer from Manila. That's that thriller from Manila. When it's all said and done, man, we taking it to the documentary world. That's big boy. That do the documentaries. And so that's how you got to go. You got to have bigger thinking, bigger mindset. And so go on, let's get to the next topic, Stace.
All right. So, well, we covered a lot in that one. That kind of just gave us a lot of feedback of what's happening in our sport and how it has absolutely changed. Social media is here. So I just want to add on to what you said for just a moment. So I know that just this morning, I got a message from a coach that has a new gym and was saying, hey, Stacy, I need some help. What's an app that I can use to create videos and photos for advertisements so I can get people in my door? And, I got that before I had my first cup of coffee this morning. So when I read that message 2 or 3 times, I could feel what that owner was feeling.
Mm-hmm.
They need people coming in the doors.
So what was the initial thought when it landed to your bones? Tell me what that felt like. Cause I mean, I know what you probably were thinking, but you know,
Well,
what
here's the
really did it
thing.
feel like?
Yeah, here's the thing. There's not an app. There's that little catchphrase, there's an app for that. Of course, there are apps and softwares and programs and all that sort of stuff for editing and content creation, but it's only as good as what you put in it, right? So the content, you have to know the kind of content to put in there. But then you got to back the truck up even further. You have to think about, who are you? Who is your company, your gym? And this is universal. So
Yeah.
I'm talking about, if it's an athlete that you have, if it is your gym, if it is, not even the gym business, it's like, who are you and who are you here to serve? Like, why the heck are you even doing this? And it really, you got to rewind it all the way back to there, because if you don't, you are going to just waste so much of your time getting on this social media monster and be so disappointed, because you'll be posting your ass off and it's not about likes, y'all. And so this will ultimately come out in the conversation. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it on the table this morning.
Elaborate.
We live and breathe this social media stuff, and it's not about freaking likes. We are about business and about your social media making you money.
Oh, hold up. I love that. But is it social media or is it content marketing?
It's your content marketing, because that is exactly where I was going. Your content is only as good as what you create. That sounds counterintuitive, but you can't throw anything to, an app on your phone, an app on your computer, if you don't know how to craft this. Because being able to stop the scroll on social media today is a real feat.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all on social media, some people longer, than others, but you got to know how to craft the content. And like I said, that comes back to, who are you as a brand? And we'll go into this another day, but a lot of you are out there, you don't really have your identity yet. So you got to reel it back in and really understand, why did you start your company and who are you? What is the DNA in your company, and who are you here to serve most? Because what we find across the board, and this isn't even only with gyms. These are with, just retail stores, restaurants, med spas, all these customers that we work with. They're talking to everybody, trying to get any dollar in the door.
Yeah.
And therefore the message never lands.
Mm-hmm.
And so
tell me like this, would it be safe to say that you could frame this up to make it really simple for these individuals, that there are three things that will simplify this whole thing for you? And first, it's not that you're just putting out content, because we just call that content creation. But when you want to become influential and you want to become a person that's making a personal brand and building trust, you're content marketing. But your first three P's are marketing, targeting, and sales. Because if you're not doing those three things, you're just posting.
Yeah.
Because your marketing starts because you have to make sure you attract, and your targeting makes it so that you can attack.
Yeah.
And your sales makes it possible for you to stack. That's how it all comes together, that we do it at Jab Juice. The focus isn't being seen. The focus is to market, target, and sell, so that we can attack, attract, and stack. That's it.
Bottom line.
Attack, stack, cash. So that you can grow, and they can grow, and you can build, and they can build. It's not rocket science, and it's not scammy.
Yeah.
It's the 4 C's of content. understanding how to make this thing turn into something that's real, scalable. And why is it that people are making six figures, not even leaving their house? Why is it that people are making seven figures, not even leaving their house? It's because they understand that if you frame up what you do and actually do it, then the results come. And I always want to be clear that there are two lanes that your marketing falls up under. Why have you been posting and it's not working? Because you're falling up under one or the other. Why is it that you're making millions of dollars? Because yours fall up under the other one. The first one, if you're not making money, it's because your marketing is modest. Your posting is modest. We call it passive posting. It has no understanding, no clarity, no framework. You're just doing it. You decided to catch yourself in the gym doing something, say, oh, that looked cool, but no one understands what you're trying to come across. You have no real clear message. And then why is it that people are crushing it? Why can't we just create a viral video because I decided I'm going to do a viral video today? Let it be known. You don't want viral videos all throughout the week. You want one every 2 to 3 weeks, because the onslaught of what comes with a real viral video isn't what you think. It's a lot of messages. It's a lot of reach outs. It's a lot of interaction. It's a lot of things that you have to respond to, or you're doing bad business. That's what's going to happen when you build for your athletes. They're going to get all these amazing opportunities and a bunch of hagglers who are just trying to get into your fold. And so you got to remember these three things: market, target, and sell. And if you look on the timeline, you can see where we sell, but we keep it fun and interesting and engaging and value-based still. And you can look at where we just want to give you information. So we don't dilute our value by trying to sell. We give you value as we sell. So you want to see our sales stuff because you got a great takeaway, whether you purchased anything from us or not. Those who are purchasing are getting way further, and those who are not are still getting value. So that's how you have, this is mastery. And Jab Juice was the reason that all of this is possible, because it challenged us to continue to frame, not just do stuff just to do it, but do it with a purpose behind it so that we can show other people how to do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's,
I was going to weigh in on something. Because you were talking about selling, and we're talking about, making money, reaching your highest good. Thinking bigger also includes your bank account. Let's just shoot it straight. But here's the thing: when it comes to your content, and this is a little pearl that the audience can take with them. When it comes to saying an offer and getting somebody to take action, that should only be 10% of your content. And for some of you, every post that you do is, buy this, come in here, we got this going, we got that going, come on in, we're going to do 10% of your content. And 50% of your content should be what we call credibility content, which you are showing people who you are and what you do. And
well, the bottom line is, we're not here to teach you that. We're here for you to realize that there's something that you're not doing. Yeah. There's something that you're not doing, because hearing it doesn't do anything. It doesn't fix it, because there's an actual education behind it. This is where social media throws you off, because you go to TikTok or you go to YouTube and you're hearing these influencers who are content creating for likes, follows, and sales. You're hearing them and you're hoping that you can just get that nugget that's going to get you across that line. But with nuggets come application. And so the fact that you lack application is the reason why you're getting no results out of what you're trying to do. So it's okay to learn. That's why we created a university for our guys, because they can all say what next. And when it's time to say what next, it's already there for them. Look how many people responded when they saw the skills guide. 52 weeks? Oh, that's a lot of answers. Absolutely. Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. Guess what makes that information even better? When you are in the group and you're getting follow-up, and you can ask questions, and you can now have mentorship by someone who's not only taught boxing, but taught boxing at the highest level and written books for great athletes. Speaking of great athletes, here's a little nugget that we were speaking to with
It
my man
does. It's
Andre
going to
Darrell.
take a big element of confidence and not just skill.
Yeah, right. You can't fake that kind of confidence.
No, you can't. You can't. You have to. You simply have to take yourself to another level when you show up for the trials, for the box offs, and for any other big tournament, for a world championship fight. Doesn't matter. You're always going to have to take a little bit more with you. Even though you don't think you can muster it, you have to find a way to believe you did.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And go in there for the best of your ability, man. We have to show up in times of, uncertainty, man. And no work ethic is going to be your only confidence bullshit to that.
Work ethic. You have to apply that same work ethic. And that's a Olympic medalist and a world champion multiple times over. Andre Darrell. Special shouts out to Darrell. I'm telling you, what's applicable isn't the same thing that you think is. Once you get to the highest level of this thing, what's required is different. You can't beat anyone at the Olympic level or in a professional ranks with what you learned in the first month of boxing. You can't beat anyone at that level with that knowledge. So your knowledge has to continue to evolve. And when you are grabbing these little nuggets out here, you must know that the person that wrote that knows so much more than you that you can't outmarket them because you're taking from them nuggets that they're leaving behind. So my advice is always, when you find a person that you like, crack your piggy bank, invest in what they have, and learn something that's applicable. Because if you're just scrolling and taking nuggets, that doesn't equate to anything because that's not a system, right? It's not a system. So that's how you get out here and market yourself. And marketing is basically the next best thing you can do. So instead of calling it marketing, what is the next best thing that I can do decision-wise? The next best thing that I can do decision-wise is to show people that I've learned a new method or was taught a new method of oxygenating my body. And I got a new sneaker deal, just like these basketball athletes. How did I do that? Because this sneaker company, Adidas, was watching my feeds. See, I got hired by companies like ESPN and recruited by Power Hands and a multitude of others. I got put on the test study for Under Armour with C3, which is brain concussion, way before it was known, because of they understood what I did in the market space. I've been a part of so many studies, which is why I'm addicted to getting things and going behind the scenes and getting studies on stuff. The programming that we got coming out, Box and Bond, has been under the research for years. And the market space now understands that we're just like any company that has to put what they do in front of the FDA. You have to go through trials and trials and trials until it gets the thumbs up, because the powers that be understand what really isn't for the marketplace and what is. And what is what's been proven. And the data and the stats behind your child being on an iPad and being in front of the computer and not having social skills and not having the ability to cope when someone may be bullying them or being the bully. If they don't have coping skills, what will happen is they'll become the problem. And no matter what they do, it'll always turn into a grease fire somewhere along the way. So they have to learn how to become human beings. We did not get the opportunity or no one took liberty to develop us in a way that worked with the way we thought. Parents told you what to do, but today it's all about understanding the layers of communicating. We didn't have a class on communication, so therefore we have to create something that's gone through study, that's been under research, and that has been in the upper echelons of communication skills, coping skills, confidence, building the awareness on how to defend themselves with their mouths instead of their hands. But if it boils down to it, you can do that too. And God forbid the opposition, because we teach boxing, and if the opposition isn't in that world at all, then prayers to them, because that's what this is all about. Understanding how to take your stuff and take it to another level. You have to think big. The floor is yours on that note.
Well, I think we've covered a lot. I know that we've kind of run through the list. Do you have something else on your list that maybe I don't have?
Well, the only thing is this evening what we're going to do is part 2 of the show, which basically is going to show some of these individuals, even those who are in the gym world, how you take lessons that we teach and craft them into an art form so that you can benefit more than just teaching a kid at a time a certain skill. And so from the bigger thought process of learning a skill, we're going to show them what we did to take those skills and turn them into something that actually pays bills and puts straps around their little young athletes' necks. So we're going to show them particulars on how to develop fighters who have lack of aggression into a much more aggressive fighter. And we're going to show you how we teach our athletes to set traps so that they won't just be aggressive, but they'll also know how to set up an athlete. And these teachers are going to come from our peekaboo and our science of counter punching and the Philly shell. And so hopefully you guys take a lot from that. It starts today at 5:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
And we will have the announcement pop out, and I'd join it if I were you, because this is a 1-2 punch from Think Bigger, where you're going to learn things that you would have never thought you'd learn and give you something that's applicable. If I was you, what my next suggestion would be is find where the application resides so that tomorrow when you wake up, there's something more to go on.
Yeah.
Now, that's just my expert opinion. I've been a part of this game for 4 decades, but I've been alive for over 50 years. And I understand there's a right way to do something. And then there's a way to do it just because you're just too damn lazy to do it the right way. So you go along with modest marketing opposed to aggressive marketing. Remember, attract, attack in order to stack. If your stack is low, that means your attack is weak. And if your attack is weak, that means you ain't attracting people. Mm-hmm. And so with that being said, I like to shut the door on an inaugural show. Bigger. And if you have any comments to drop down in that you want, questions that you may have answered, make sure you drop them down here below. We have people on our feed.
Yep.
People are on our feed. We got moderators, we got admins, we got me. I like to look from time to time. The thing about it is remembering this: when someone takes over your account, make sure that you have the wherewithal to know that someone literally has to take over your account. You have someone that you need to trust, because in order to operate in some of these different platforms like Instagram, you have to know that the Instagram has its own rules. So even though they're under Meta, they're different than Meta. Our team has run across this, and you have to say, I trust this person. These are the people that I trust, because in order to get something going, I'll speak on what is the difference between posting and a campaign. Because if you're launching something, you need to understand what a campaign is.
Totally different.
A campaign is attack, and stack, and that's constant. And the mindset has to be that or nothing. You will continue to find yourself flailing and not ever launching anything off the way it should be. And that's why you have mediocre success. And until then, you will never understand what it feels like to get 10 million people that's attracted to you, 15 million, 20 million, because you don't get out of your own way. So get out of your own way. That's my tip to you. And stack shit. Don't play with it. Get after it. And remember, if you think small, that's what's going to be what comes of it.
The law of attraction is real.
The laws of attraction is a real thing. So think bigger, attract,
Starts here.
and stack your blessings. That's all I got.
That's it.
Until next time, I see you guys soon. Special shouts out to my brothers in Top Trainer University, aka the School of Boxing, where we're elevating our coaches and our athletes that come up under our banner and teaching them the confines and the science behind marketing and building and running ads so they can attack and attract the right people to what they're doing, because it's all going to matter unless you want Jake Paul on the main event of your main event night, because the misfits are really coming. So
100%. They're here.
that's all I got, man. Be blessed at Godspeed. Special shouts out to our sponsor, jabjuice.com, the present of building social medias, personal brands for the combat athlete and the former athletes of today and yesterday, and taking their careers to the next level in the upper echelon of the race. So long, guys.
See you next time.
See you next time.